You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right. We want you guys to help us keep the conversation moving forward. You can support the show. You can share it online with your friends and your family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. Link in the description so you can do just that. And we are here once again with our gracious, enigmatic host, our voluptuous host. Our
voluptuous? That does not sound right.
Voluptuous, like charismatic, right?
Are you trying to throw a secret word in right now?
I was trying to fake a secret word.
Gracious,
don't take
voluptuous,
the bait.
enigmatic.
Oh, no, voluptuous is not a good word. No, okay, never mind. Don't look up
say,
Dr. Shah, I want to formally apologize.
Yeah.
That does not sound good at all.
I thought it was like charismatic, like charming.
That's not what that word means.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't even know how to introduce him. You want to do the introduction?
Dr. Shah, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Dr. Shah. Good to see you
Thanks.
here on the
Segue quickly out of
Today
whatever that
show.
was.
If you're joining us for the first time, I do want to say Dr. Shah is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. I'm about to resign from hosting duties. I feel like I need to just see myself out. If you want to just hit him with the verse of the day.
Nobody who wasn't watching would know what I just happened. I just pulled John's mic away from him before he says another adjective that doesn't need to be said.
Yeah, right.
The verse of the day today is coming to us from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20. For I fear lest when I come, I shall not find you such as I wish, and that I shall be found by you as you... Hold on, sorry. For I fear lest when I come, I shall not find you such as I wish, and that I shall be found by you such as you do not wish, lest there be contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, backbitings, whisperings, conceits, tumults.
Has Nicole ever called you up, Dr. Shah, and said, when you get home, these kids need a whooping? And you said, I know, going like you pull into the driveway, coming in and saying, you know what? I hate to do it, but it's whooping time.
She never uses that. She never. I mean, this is years ago.
Right.
She didn't use those exact words, but she did say it.
Yeah.
You're like, I've had it. The girls are just on a
Like a warpath.
warpath. That's kind of hard because they're Indians. So
Yeah,
it's like
right.
warpath. Like you walk in the room and they're like, oh.
I feel like Paul sat down to write. I feel like
what just happened here?
Paul
What's
sat
happening?
down to write to the Corinthians, just knowing in his mind, it's whooping time.
Yeah.
It is whooping.
Well, the very next verse says, lest when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and I shall mourn for many who have sinned before me. He's talking about you're going to be brought to task if you keep acting up.
Yep.
Paul had a really, I don't want to say strained, but just a complex relationship with these Corinthians.
I would say, yes, the relationship with the Corinthians was a little tense, but Paul, in my opinion, demonstrates what a good pastor is supposed to be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay? That's how a pastor is supposed to be. And Paul was sort of a founding pastor of that church.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to put Paul as we frame him as a missionary or a church planter, and we think, that's not the norm.
Right.
The norm is this mild-mannered, very gentle, very gentle and kind and kind of
like someone you'd want to go get coffee with at a Starbucks
Yeah.
and just catch
like
up.
grandpa type.
Yeah, let's just do a lunch.
Yeah, that's what a pastor is supposed to be, but I don't think that's really the case.
Right.
I think Paul demonstrates for us what a pastor is supposed to be, how he's supposed to be with his people. So he is on one hand very kind and gentle and loving, but at the same time he's also very forceful, and he doesn't back away from correcting them.
Mm-hmm.
And at times he is he is just like we see ready to give them a whooping.
Yeah.
Good point. And I feel like when pastors are asked about that, or when they're asked why aren't you more like that, they're like, well, you think I'm on the same level as the Apostle Paul? You think I'm anything like Paul? And it's funny because doesn't Paul say, imitate me as I imitate Christ?
That's right.
Like, why wouldn't you want to be like the Apostle Paul? I guess it's one of those things where it's just like they put, and Paul's on another level, but that doesn't mean that you don't you don't try to get to that level.
Well, it comes back to what you view as affection and care. Like the opposite of love isn't hatred. The opposite of love is apathy. So if Paul didn't love the Corinthians, he would just be like, okay, whatever, y'all do what you want to. But no, he's bringing them to task because he cares for them and he wants to see them walking with God.
Very true.
I mean, otherwise he would just be like, okay, I mean, you live your life.
Very true.
But he's not doing that. He's saying this is what it takes to live the Christian life. Straighten up because God's called you to better than this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we can learn from Paul. Don't go and just stay on the extremes with him. Just this, when he talks about how he is, doesn't he talk about kind of motherly towards them in one passage? So just don't be just that.
Right.
Don't be just the Corinthian Paul, which is, I'm going to come there. I'm going to deal with you. I'm not going to deal with you behind your back. I'm going to do it to your face. Don't just be there. Somewhere in the middle is the proper balance. What a pastor is supposed to be.
Amen. Absolutely. Gentlemen, I don't know if y'all know this, but we're 5 days away from Christmas. Christmas is in 5 days, and it does not feel like it.
Crazy to me.
Have y'all been having Christmas movies on nonstop at the house?
I mean, not nonstop, but
really?
we've had Christmas movies on. Christmas music nonstop, yes.
Okay, but not Christmas movie. Dr. Shaw, Christmas movies at the house?
Now, because my sister is with us. She is, we're so glad. God, praise God. A lot of prayers were answered.
Yes.
She's here attending college, but for Christmas, she's at our home. She loves binge watching shows.
Okay.
So if she gets in her zone to watch NCIS, then it'll be NCIS.
That's what she's about with binging?
She was at one time.
Okay.
And then she got on to Monk.
Okay.
Monk.
Monk's the good one. I like that.
And then so finally we said, we're gonna let's watch some Christmas movies. She's like, yes, let's watch. I'm like, oh, there's no fight there.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
no.
I thought there'd be. There was some fight in my house because Ellie's. I don't know what is going on this Christmas, but she's so obsessed with Home Alone 2. Which I thought was a really weird one. Like, everybody loves 1, and for some reason, everybody loves 3. But Home Alone...
Have you seen 4?
No.
Yeah.
No, I barely...
My kids,
3 is the other kid, right?
Yes, 3 is a different kid.
4 is a different kid still. It's a third kid.
I barely tolerate Home Alone 3. Home Alone 2 is a weird one. That's played in my house at least like 5 or 6 times this...
2 is an odd pick.
The New York one?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I mean, I like it. It's
just the same film.
It's the same as the first one, just in New York, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just different.
I was watching it, and like every beat is the exact same.
That's the one with the pigeon lady at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like if you I had never seen it, and so last year we watched it for the. I was like, let me actually watch Home Alone 2, and I was like, we had just watched Home Alone 1, so watching them side by side made me realize like. It's the same beats. The story beats are the exact same. They just changed the dialogue and changed some of the setting, but it's the same movie.
That one also has pre-presidential Donald Trump.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
But I guess I was just like, I don't know any circumstance. I told Ellie this year. I don't know any circumstance where someone would watch. If you're going to watch Home Alone 2, you may as well just watch Home Alone 1. You know?
Yeah.
They're
personally, I like them both.
Now, I know you like the scene where he gets electrified and like this like the skeleton, he's just like a skeleton.
That's a great scene.
That scared Gavin to death.
Really?
Yeah, he was watching it. He was like, blah, 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 blah. He was watching. He was like, ah, ah.
Oh, Gavin.
He was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like this. I was like, hey, buddy, it's okay.
It's okay. It's just pretend.
I was like, it's funny, Gavin.
Just pretend.
I don't like this.
Pretend.
I don't like this.
I would tell you an interesting development this year in Christmas movies. I have watched, since we did A Christmas Carol, after that, I have watched several versions of A Christmas Carol.
Really?
And I have found myself infinitely more emotional at those versions than I was prior to doing A Christmas Carol.
Which ones did you watch?
So I watched, there's an animated one that's a musical on Netflix. It's pretty good. No,
I'm joking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's pretty good. I watched that one. I watched, I watched several leading up to A Christmas Carol, but this is since A Christmas Carol. I watched A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Of course.
And then I watched, I watched some of the one with Patrick Stewart. What? The one that came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
And just like, I found myself more gripped by the story than prior to us performing.
I was thinking about that. I think, anytime you want to go see a play, you need to either watch that play in a movie form or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it really helps you appreciate the play. If you don't know the story.
I agree.
Now, if you know the story very well, then okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
But if not, it always helps because now you know what's happening on the stage.
Yes.
100%.
Some people they don't, and it's tough to really appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Some people that we know came to the show and had never seen A Christmas Carol before and never read the story.
That
They were
was
just
wild
like,
to me.
like,
That was
just
really wild.
totally like enraptured by the story, which I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great story, but people like they know the outcome. They know what
Right.
happens to Scrooge in the end. But
Right.
so there were several people there who had no idea, and they were just
That's
blown away by
funny.
the
Yeah,
ending.
That was bizarre to me.
Really?
Like people were up there watching us do A Christmas Carol for the first time ever.
Yeah, they're like, wow, that
That was such a
that's
good
so
sto-
moving.
Did y'all write that? Huh?
like, I
Also-
wish.
And we need,
know.
we need to move on for this, but I learned this yesterday. Yesterday, December the 19th, is the 181st anniversary of the first publication of A Christmas Carol.
Huh?
I don't know that.
December the 19th
Wow.
was the day that it was published, and it sold out in 5 days.
By the way, we did talk about Christmas Carol on the show, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it after the play, yeah.
Yeah. For those who may not know, but Nicole and I were able to go to London to his house, which is now a museum. Now, he lived at that place maybe 2-3 years. And I believe he wrote Nicholas Nickleby while he was there.
Wow.
I may be wrong, but I think he wrote that one.
Wow.
Oliver Twist? No, I think it was Nicholas Nickleby. He wrote that there. So walking through that house and just knowing that this man was here and that his mind was, just creating these characters and storylines and these interactions and these build-ups and these letdowns, and all this was happening right in this area. And imagine him walking around and thinking, no, that's not the way to do it. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to try this here. I'm going to, I'm going to have to come back to this again tomorrow. It just does not seem to really lead to where I want the story to go.
Right.
And I just thinking about how this was working, this was very touching for me.
Yeah, it's crazy to think of. Think about how influential and impactful Ebenezer Scrooge. Like if you say the word Scrooge has really become
It's a metaphor now.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah. Don't be such a Scrooge.
Yeah, everybody knows exactly what you mean. Okay, cool. Don't be like this.
Yeah.
And to think that you're sitting there looking at the desk he sat in when he thought up Scrooge,
Scrooge was,
or
yeah.
just any of those characters. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Clearview Today. Hey, Clearview Today listeners. We want to take a quick moment to thank you for tuning in. As you can imagine, producing a show like this takes a lot of time, effort, and resources. And we're grateful for the Truth Network for giving us a platform to syndicate our show. But the vast majority of our support comes from listeners just like you. If you enjoy these talks with Dr. Shah and you want to see Clearview Today continue to grow, consider making a donation today, because your contributions help us deliver fun, relevant, and biblical content right to your phone every single day.
That's right. Every single donation, big or small, goes directly to the production of this show. It helps us keep the lights on in the studio. It helps keep the mics hot and running. So if these conversations are making a difference in your day, or if you just want to help us keep the gospel of Jesus Christ in the airwaves, we would appreciate your support. You can give by visiting our website. That's clearviewtodayshow.com, and just click on that button that says Give Today. And remember, your support truly makes a difference in our show. Thank you for being part of this community. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
That's right, Dr. Shah. We're in the Christmas spirit here in the Clearview Today studio, but we're also remembering today that there's people around the world who are trying to celebrate Christmas, who are having a harder time, or they're in need of prayer, and there's a lot of things going on in the world that are sort of hindering that Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you were talking to us a little bit about what was going on in Nigeria before we started the show. Do you want to kind of just catch us up on what exactly has been happening?
Sure. So, while we are here talking about Charles Dickens
Right.
and A Christmas Story and about how people can be like a Scrooge and we need to enjoy Christmas.
Right.
In all of this, we tend to forget that there are people across the world who cannot even begin to think about enjoying Christmas
Yes, true.
because of persecution. And many Christians across the world are persecuted in different countries and different regions, but there is one country that is topping the list, and that is the country of Nigeria. And this is a place where more Christians have been killed than any other place right now, or at least that's what we know for sure.
Right.
And it's very, very tragic. Christmas is not about, hey, get together with family and we're going to eat a lot of good food and celebrate and go to church, and they have to fear for their lives because their women, their children are being raped or killed. And these are being done by these Islamic groups, these terrorist groups like Boko Haram, and other groups like that, and that's very tragic.
Does the violence ramp up at Christmas time?
Well, violence is there throughout.
It's just a constant
time.
threat.
But groups like, as I mentioned, Boko Haram or ISWAP, which is Islamic State in West Africa province, African province. These are military style assault groups, and they want to just destroy churches. I mean, that's the first thing they go after. How can we kill Christians?
Wow.
How can we kill them? And they've had a change in presidency. Both of them Muslims, by the way.
Right.
So you went from Muhammad Buhari to now a different president. I forgot his name, if I can find his name.
The current president of Nigeria.
It's Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And same thing.
I guess it's.
We'll see if this president will do things right.
Yeah. Well, I just wonder, like, with Christians being so prominent in Nigeria, and it's like almost half the population is Christians.
I think so.
And yet there's so much violence against them. I guess I just thought if you were in the majority of the population, there's like an implicit safety, but that's not the case.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just not the case. Why do you think?
Whoever carries the weapons.
Yeah.
Whoever has the arms, makes the rules. So also here, because the government and the military or the police or whoever has the weapons, they get to dominate the other group. Even if the group has a large population, they don't have anything to defend themselves or fight back.
Right. And this is happening like today. This is happening right now.
It's happening right now, 2024, December 2024. It's happening.
Is the persecution coming from other religious entities, or is it coming from a government standpoint?
It's sort of government's, is complacent about it or complicit, I guess. And so they don't care. They're okay with these terrorist groups harassing and killing or raping Christians.
So it's not necessarily persecution coming from the government, but the government's doing nothing to stop it.
Right, or they go along with it. They're part of this.
Wow.
They just pretend that we'll do something. But they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of fear and distrust in those Nigerian communities, especially around Christmas time. And I think we mentioned it on the show last year, but it was happening a lot last year, and I think now that it's starting to happen again in larger numbers. And I think Christmas, it's so sad and it's so tragic because Christmas is becoming a time of fear. It's becoming a time that you have to hunker down and just try to survive.
Yeah,
and it's the exact opposite of what goes on here in the West.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
very tragic.
Yeah, very much
so. We're talking about this today so that we can bring some kind of an awareness to people,
right?
And tell them, hey, pray for your brothers and sisters in Christ.
Right.
Pray for them across the world. And thank goodness for the change in government that is coming.
Yes.
Or has already come, that we can now speak out. And under President Trump, we can tell these countries, it's time to cut it out.
That's right.
You're done.
That's right.
Don't do this to Christians. What have they done to you? Stop. So that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened in the past 4 years. That hasn't happened, prior to President Trump coming in office during the Obama years. I mean, it wasn't the same, and it's been rough on Christians.
I think it's good to have talks like this because this is like sort of the exact opposite of like bringing in the Christmas spirit, but at the same time, it's good to have these talks. I think especially at Christmas because a lot of times, like me growing up in America, like this is all I've ever known, where it's just like this happy, festive, joyful, free time. I've never known persecution. You know what I mean? I don't know what that's like. I know that it happens, but I've not experienced it. And so I think it's good because you not growing up here in America, you grew up in a situation where Christianity was not welcome, where it was sort of more on the dangerous side to be a Christian. I mean, I know you grew up in a Christian community, but in India, it wasn't smiled upon.
Overall, that wasn't,
Well, I did go through persecution. But when I was growing up, at least people were not as antagonistic towards Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there were people who would cause persecution to come.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you've heard me talk about this.
Right.
For us, as it happened, where our power was cut off
Mm-hmm.
for an entire year. Now, this is where the temperature gets to be about 120, 125 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Imagine your power is cut off.
Yeah.
Now, you don't run air conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible. It's you don't have air condition. You have fans, because running a fan at least keeps the air from being kind of this thick,
Like stagnant.
stagnant.
Yeah.
So the fan helps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine losing power
Yeah.
right about March, April time.
Golly, that air is so thick.
And
so
it's
hot.
so hot. I mean, this is where you get sunstroke if you go outside.
Mm-hmm.
This is where people have a heat stroke. And this is what they did to us. And it's because we were in a railway area, right? The church was located in a railway colony. Means this is where railway workers lived. Drivers, engineers. We have a railway hospital, so railway doctors and railway nurses. We had a railway police force that guards all the goods and the offices and the train depots and all of that. So you have the RPF, the Railway Police Force. So all these people live. So our house and the church is located right in the heart of the railway colony. Okay, and it's pretty wide. I mean, it's acres and acres. I mean, several miles.
Wow.
So it's not like a little colony.
Right.
No, it goes on. So, anyways, so there was a change in the general manager. A new general manager came who was very kind of a militant, nationalistic Hindu guy. And when he came, he said, "Why is the church getting the railway electric power? Because they're in the
They're in that grid.
in the grid. Yeah, but they're not church. They're not railway. Is that a railway church? I'm like, no. Well, then they don't get our power. Well, you can't do that because they're sort of, grandfathered in.
Right.
Because yes, they can get the power that is more municipal, which is for the whole city and the county and all that. But since they're in this zone, we have to by law do that. No, we don't. Railway doesn't have to help anybody, which was against the law.
Right.
He wasn't right.
Yeah.
But he cut the power. He said, cut the power.
So they had to go out of their way to cut you out of the grid that was already there. It wasn't like you guys were like a parasite added on to the grid.
No. We
You
were right in the
already
middle.
there.
Right in the middle. The church was originally built in the 1880s, 1890s, somewhere there. It came out of a revival. I've talked about this before,
Right.
But anyways, but it was built so that British officers could go to church in walking distance.
So even from its inception, it was built linked to the railway.
It was, yeah.
Its very existence was tied to the railway. So the fact that it was getting railway power, I mean, just that they go in hand in hand.
Yeah, it's
It makes
crazy
sense.
they had to go out of their way and spend more money
And
cutting the power than just leaving it alone.
even if there was a solution to tap off municipal power to get to the church,
Yeah.
why not run that power first, then cut the
Right.
first power
At least do
source?
that. I mean, even our address, to this day, it's not our address anymore since my dad is, passed away, mom's gone. But it used to be 12 blocks. So that area had 12 blocks, 32 blocks, 16 blocks. What do you mean by blocks? That's how many homes were there. And the people who lived in those homes, 12 blocks were for the medical doctors.
So did the 12 blocks around the church get their power cut too?
No,
Just that one address, that one home
one home.
Okay.
And the church.
and the church. Makes sense.
So, anyways, I say all that to say it was wrong, it was unfair, it was unjust, it was hate, induced. So I know what these Christians in Nigeria are going through because they're going through worse. It's
Right.
not just cutting power.
Right.
It's people coming in and beating them and slapping them and killing them and raping their wives and their daughters. Imagine that, somebody doing that to your daughters.
I can't imagine it.
So it's horrible.
Yes.
But as growing up in India in those years, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, it was a different world. People were not as antagonistic against Christianity, and we as Christians were, I guess, had courage, I guess I can say, or maybe we were more active, or we were brave, that people didn't try much.
Right.
And we'll fight back. If it came down to we'll fight back. Now it's not that way.
Yeah. Even in India?
Definitely in India.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Wow.
It's a different world.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, as we're prepping for Christmas, it's good to keep that in mind, that there's people over the world who are joined with you in spirit, but their circumstances of their Christmas are very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How should we as believers, as we're prepping for Christmas, how should we approach Christmas with this information in mind?
For one, pray. Secondly, talk about it. And hopefully in the upcoming year, 2025, more Christian organizations will talk about this and speak out. There are one or two Christian organizations that do, but they have ulterior motives. Like there was one who was talking about persecutions against Christians, and all of a sudden they became anti-Semitic. And I'm like, what? How does that work? What are you doing? Stick to the task.
Right.
And they had a big list of signatures. I was like, oh, I'm going to sign on that. And then I read the rest of their manifesto, and it was like garbage.
Yeah.
So make sure you read what they believe in, what they truly stand for, and then speak out about those issues. And if you can financially help, but make sure, please don't just send money to anybody from Nigeria.
Do your research.
Especially.
No princes, no royalty.
No. They don't need that. Because they're probably, if they are from Nigeria, they're not the good guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But hopefully you can help missionaries and maybe organizations that may be doing work there.
That's right. Yeah, and it's good. Like I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's good to talk about it. These are awkward topics at Christmas, and these are the things that all Christians want to cry. Someone should be talking about this more. Right. It's like, well, look, you talk about it with your family over Christmas dinner.
That's right.
Well, I don't know about that. I want to bring everybody down.
And be glad. I mean, we in America, we are protected.
That's right.
Thank God for all the freedoms we have, that we are unassailable.
Hey, that's right. That's right. Amen.
That's a blessing.
Very much.
Make sure you guys join us tomorrow. Same time.
I knew it. I was going for the wrong. When he said unassailable, I was like, yeah, amen. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's the secret word. And he got to the button
unassailable.
first. He got to the button first.
Nice.
I sat there and agreed with him. I pulled an Adam Painter, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. I was like,
you get Adam Painter. You just threw Adam Painter under the bus.
Maybe I should cut his name out. I just sat there and agreed, and then I was like, wait, no, I couldn't get to the button fast enough.
I thought it was totally legit. I was like, yeah, unassailable.
I didn't get it.
Very nice. Well done.
Very nice, Doctor.
Unassailable means immune to attack.
Very nice.
Yeah. That was good.
Well done.
That was a good way to get it in there.
Make sure you guys join us tomorrow, same time, same station. We're going to be diving into another great topic right here on the Clearview Today Show. Thanks again to LeBlue Ultra Pure Water for sponsoring today's episode. And don't forget, you can support us by subscribing to the show on iTunes if you want to re-listen to any episodes. And you can always support us financially at clearviewtodayshow.com. John, what do you want to leave our listeners with today?
Definitely want to plug our upcoming live stream on January the 3rd. That is going to be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're going to be hanging out right here in the Clearview Today studio in our 24-hour prayer vigil. In those 2 hours, you can call into the show, 252-582-5028, and you can just you can talk to us. You can let us know how we can be praying for you. We'll pray with you right here on the air over the phone, but it's going to be a great time. You can also buy Dr. Shah and Nicole's book, 30 Days of Praying for America, Daily Devotions to Heal Our Nation, as well as our debut album, Heaven Here and Now. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that digital music is streamed or sold.
That's right. Make sure you guys jump in. Lots of great conversation to be had tomorrow. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.